Hi guys, welcome to Reality with T. So, okay, last night's episode of Married at First Sight took me through a lot of emotions, and I have some opinions that you guys might not agree with me on, but I want you to talk to me about it in the comments, okay? So either way, like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you think, because I'm going to get into the whole Chris and Eric situation as well. But we have a few things going on with all the other couples. All right, so let's get started. So let me just let you know from the beginning, I missed the first 20 minutes of it. So if anything notable happened, I'll go back and look at it, but that's not what I'm sure nothing really notable happened at that time. When I came in, Chris and Paige were talking, and I think were they starting to pack up? They were trying to do something, but they were talking about, Paige is like, I'm excited to get back to Atlanta, after the honeymoon is over, they're headed back to Atlanta. I want you to meet my dog. And she says, are you going to help me with it? This and that. And then Chris is kind of like, I guess he doesn't have dogs. And he's kind of like, well, is he going to, bite on my shoes? Is he going to mess up my clothes? So she's like, no, he doesn't do that. And then he's kind of like, well, I'll play with it. You can take care of it. So that's her number one, where she's like, okay, how committed to this process is he? And I get it, because I'm not a dog person, and maybe she is. And I know they think very differently from people who aren't dog people. Like, that really is her baby. So for him to say, I'm not really going to help you with it, it's kind of like, okay. She's like, I already told you that I'm willing to be a stepmother to a 6-week-old embryo. And you're already telling me that you wouldn't even help me with my dog. Like, how much you gonna try? You know what I mean? Like, I'm sacrificing a lot more than you are by just like than you would be just walking a dog for me once in a while, And then she starts to talk about, they have a conversation about money and about paying bills and joint bank accounts. And he's like, everything should be 50-50. So she's like, hold on a minute. It doesn't make sense. I make 1/3 of what you make. So it would make sense that you would put more into this bank, or you would pay more of our bills. It can't be 50-50 if I'm not making as much as you. And so then first he had to point out, because he's a narcissist, he had to point out, well, I make 4 times as much as you do. You make 1/4 of what I make. And it's like, okay. But you're not even addressing the fact that you probably should put more into our family than I do, because you're making more. So she, again, as if she doesn't have already several red flags. We have more yellow flags coming, more, yellow, green mixed flags coming. And she is not, I don't know, they're just kind of glossed it over. But I guess I feel like she's smart enough to bring it up again when the time comes. So then we have Virginia and Eric, right? So, and I know I was calling her Tequila because that's all she does is drink. And I shouldn't make fun of her, because I think that she might have a little bit of a problem, because she's kind of like, he brings up the fact, like, there's some deal breakers with me, right? And so he's like, he's talking about her partying too much and drinking too much. And so her thing is, this is what she says: me and my friends, I love my friends, we drink Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and I want you to join us. And he's kind of like, well, I never will, because number one, I'm a pilot. I can't just be a drunk, 3 days out of a 7-day week. That just isn't going to happen. And it's not me, because that's a lot. You know what I mean? To commit to drinking, definitely getting wasted 3 days out of a 7-day week. And, he says, I can't do that. But, they talk about, he's like, there needs to be a mutual respect here. Just because I can't do that, doesn't mean that you can't. You can do what you need to do, but it also doesn't need to affect us or me in any way. And again, here he comes with that little controlling tone that's always on the side, right? And so, he is more experienced. He has been in a marriage before, but he feels like he needs to make these boundaries with her, which I can respect, because it's like, these are the boundaries I'm not going to cross. We need to agree on boundaries you aren't going to cross and boundaries I'm not going to cross, right? But then he starts talking about, well, you're married now, you're mine, you're with me, this type of thing. And I'm not kidding. And so I'm like, oh, okay. So he's really trying to lay a law down. And she's like laughing and giggling right now. But I feel like this is going to be a big issue, because when she does talk to the producers and she gets herself together to speak, she is a very independent, outspoken person. So I don't know how long this is going to last with her. So, we're going to see some of that rear its ugly head, the little, Eric stuff in a bit. But let me get to Vincent and Brianna. Now, we love them, right? But we know from the wedding that Brianna's family told Vincent at the podium, at the pulpit or whatever, podium, whatever it is, that she is a bossy person, right? And everybody said that he's patient. So now her bossiness has now taken them to another level where they're now annoyed with each other. And they go in the bed and they're talking to each other about what annoyed them during the day about each other. And so she says, it does annoy me that you don't pay attention to me sometimes. And he doesn't like that she rushes him, right? Because he doesn't like to be rushed. Basically, this is what I am. Take it or leave it. I don't need you to rush me or tell me how to do it or to micromanage me. Let me be. And so, she told him, well, you did annoy me today. And then they kind of went to bed upset. And then we hear the next day that they had a conversation off camera where they kind of resolved everything. And she told him the next day that she never wanted to come off as bossy. She's a nice person. She doesn't want to come off that way as being rude or, too much, and definitely not to her husband. So she apologizes. And, he talks about him being a patient person. And then I'm going to go through each couple, then I'm going to go to the times that they were all together. You have Ryan and Clara, right? No, wait, I'm going to go back. We'll go back to them afterwards, after the whole big thing. You see Jacob and the other girl, Haley, right? So basically they consummated their marriage. But now Jacob feels like after they did that, she started to pull back, right? So she's kind of saying that she needed space, and she starts to feel like something is missing and she doesn't know what, and it's kind of awkward, we saw this from the very beginning, and we knew that there would be something missing for her. I feel like Jacob is a very, very simple guy. He doesn't need much. She seems to be more with it, more social, more into the scene. She needs a little bit more personality, a little bit more than what he's offering her. So now we're starting to see it kind of like rear its head, right? So now they are headed out to do their last activity. And so some of the couples are put together. And so you see that a few of the couples went to do ATVing, right, in the desert. So they had a good time. But then at the end, they were all kind of huddled around. And then the girls, you have Tequila and Ryan's wife, Clara, go to talk to Chris, right? And they start talking about how concerned they are about Paige. Her personality has changed since he's gotten with you. We want to make sure you treat her right, that you see the type of person that she is, and blah, blah, blah. And so I can see how he might have felt attacked, right? A little bit attacked, because I don't even know you girls. He did tell them a couple days ago, I need you to mind your business. Let us work through this. Let us process this, right? And then it's like, after we have this great adventure, you guys just walk up on me and tell me basically, don't mess with my girl, or we got her back, or we gonna jump you, this type of thing. They didn't really say that, but that's how it came. And I can see how he could feel that way, being that he is very defensive and he's very immature and very babyish and the whole thing, and runs away crying. So he tells them, he gave it to them. You know what I mean? And it was more Virginia who was getting very mouthy. Clara knew, she said what she had to say, and she knew when to step back, because they have already seen him become upset. So she was already like, all right, we said we had to say, that's it. But Virginia kept going. So he and Virginia. Hi, y'all. So I just spoke for like 30 minutes and I didn't realize that the video had stopped recording me. So I'm gonna try this again. I'm gonna try to pick up from where I left off. I'm sorry if I repeat myself. And I'm in a bathrobe today because we're in the middle of a snowstorm and I wanted to be comfortable, but as you can see, I'm a little hot and sweaty. So let me get through this. So I think I left off where they were arguing, and Clara's kind of pulls back and she talks about, how she was kind of like poking him, and he was already angry, like, why poke the bear? And one thing I forgot was, she thought, she was like, oh, you're arrogant. And he wrote back, he said back to Virginia, well, you're a drunkard. And she's like, no, and then she's like, hi, I am, blah, blah, blah. But, it's just interesting how they reduced themselves to like fifth graders, where they start calling names and the whole thing. But I understand he feels like he has to defend himself because he feels like he was bum rushed in that moment, right? So either way, then the girls go over to talk to Paige. And this is where he gets more upset because they're talking about him right in front of his face. So he walks up and he says, listen, you guys need to stay out of it. Basically you guys are talking about me in front of me. Whatever you're saying to her, say it to me. But either way, you guys shouldn't even be talking about my business. At this point, I understand that they should have just let it go, let it alone. Paige at this point, imagine how she's feeling, how overwhelmed. You guys are pretty much like ganging up on or I should say attacking, because they use that term a lot when we get upset, right? So you're like attacking this person that's supposed to be my husband about me. I didn't even have a say in it. I didn't even know this was going to happen. Now you're coming to me. He's already pissed off. So it's imagine all the dynamics that she feels like she has to handle or manage in this moment, right? So, now Eric is telling Chris to calm down, relax, man, calm down. And then now Chris is very pissed off. So now again, he turns into an 8-year-old and says, listen, they all made me pissed off. So now everybody's going to be pissed off and I'm going to make this ride a living hell. So on the whole bus ride home, this is a small, tiny bus. You have Virginia and Eric in the front. You have Ryan and Clara in the middle, and they're just kind of staying quiet the whole time. They're trying to stay out of the whole situation. And then you have Paige and Chris in the back. And, Virginia and Chris are going at it the whole time, yelling at each other back and forth. Eric says a little bit, but really it's between Virginia and Chris. And Paige is in the back trying to kind of calm Chris down, calm down, telling everybody else, leave it alone, leave it alone, leave him alone. He's pissed off, just leave him alone, the whole thing. And she's trying to just like diffuse the situation because just, she's dealing with, it's just too much right now, right? So now everybody done went upstairs to get dressed and they have to meet for the final dinner all together, right? So the first thing that they do when they sit down is Paige thanks everybody. She thanks everybody for being there, for having her back, for listening to her, for wishing the best for her, just basically being there for her. And it's a really heartfelt thank you. That her and Chris had some kind of a conversation, right? So now Chris apologizes to everybody. He apologizes first to Paige. And he said he wanted to do that publicly. He apologizes for embarrassing her, for putting her in the situation. He apologizes for not being a godly man. He said that his behavior has been ungodly. And, he acknowledges that. And I feel like at least some of the words, most of the words were genuine. Then he apologizes to Ryan and Clara because at this point, they're the only couple at the table that experienced what happened today. And it seemed genuine and they seemed to genuinely accept it. He apologized for his behavior. He said, I was upset. I didn't know how to handle it in that moment. I didn't know how to... I just didn't express myself well. I didn't express, I felt a little bit attacked, the whole thing, and he apologizes. And everybody, now it's like a down moment. Everybody's chilling for a moment, right? And then here comes Johnny come lately, Eric and Virginia, right? And then here they come again to stir the pot. Now, what we used to call this in the hood was called instigators, right? They keep instigating the problem, right? Everybody's in a down moment. Now we're getting over what happened earlier. Then here you come. And Chris feels like he has to sit down. Eric feels like he has to sit down and tell Chris his boundaries. And let me tell you something, Chris, I'm going to set some boundaries with you. And you can never talk to my wife that way again. And, if you have something to say to her, you speak to me. So we know that they had a conversation after this whole ordeal where she put some batteries in his back and she said, listen, my father and my brother would stand up for me, so you don't let anybody else talk to me like that. Because Eric says later he's never done anything like that before. So you can tell that he feels a little, he's feeling himself a little bit, right? So now Ryan, he steps in and he says, like, hold on a second, everybody, let's take a pause. We just were going through an apology. We were just accepting the apology. We were having a pretty good moment. And then you guys came. So let's allow Chris to say what he was saying because, he came here to apologize. And so then Chris is like, no, hold up, because he's setting his boundaries. Let me hear what he has to say. And so then Eric says, you're never going to talk to her like that again and the whole thing. And then here we go with you were scaring people. We didn't know if you would snap. And then that's where I kind of got so maybe this is a bit of a racially charged argument. Because now remember, everybody, this is the reason why we have all of the police killings and everything. Because everybody is scared of the angry black man, right? We don't know what he's going to do next. We don't know when he's going to snap. So this is now my excuse for being able to use unreasonable force against you, right? This is what we're used to seeing. So now it escalates. And Chris says, listen, which he did, and this was true. He says, I asked you both of you 2 days ago to mind your business and you crossed my boundaries. So it's interesting to me that Eric is trying to set boundaries with Chris when you didn't respect his boundary, which was to mind your business. He was like, I don't know you. And this is what he told both of them earlier in the desert, both of the girls. I don't know y'all to be commenting on my business, right? He said, I asked you 2 days ago to mind your business and you still are crossing that boundary, right? And so then they kind of stand up and you know, it's kind of like whatever you want to do type of thing. Vincent kind of holds Chris back, and, you know, and Chris walks away with no problem. Then Eric decides, okay, Virginia, we're over this. Let's go. Ha ha ha. Then they leave. He throws up the deuces, and Eric was like, he was going to come at me, but acting like you didn't poke the bear. You know what I mean? Like, where's the accountability on your part? You at least could have said, well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to sit down with that energy. I'll allow you to speak, whatever it is. You didn't even sit down to hear him out before you started going in on him. And so Vincent believes Eric was wrong in that moment. Paige does as well, because she's like, he was just calming down. He was in a positive moment, and you guys disrupted that, right? And so you know, Eric is now on the other end of the fence, because I find them to be irresponsible in their behavior as well. And they are overstepping, and they should be focused on their own marriage and the issues they have within there. You know what I mean? Like, this whole thing is turning now into like a drama-filled reality show, which, I mean, I don't mind. Like, it brings up stuff to talk about, but it's like, what's the intention of the show, you know? So Ryan and Clara have to go upstairs and kind of debrief from what just happened and from the day. And Ryan says to her, which I understand what he was trying to say, but I guess maybe the way he say it kind of threw her off and threw me off a little bit too, when he said, you have to control what comes out of your mouth. And then she says later that she's to the producers, you know, I feel like he's trying to control me because I speak more than he does in certain situations, and I say what's on my mind. I feel like he's trying to control what I say. But I think that he is correct in certain situations. Your opinion doesn't need to be heard everywhere. Everybody doesn't need to hear how you feel and what you feel about it, especially if it isn't your business. Because Ryan he's very even keeled. He likes to stay out of people's business. He likes to stay out of drama. In this whole situation, he was the quiet one, just trying to, if only when he was needed, you know what I mean? He came in with the reasonable, excuse me, let's pause for a moment, you know, because, you know, he's just trying to keep the peace type of a thing. So let me go back, because now I forgot what I said in the first time. So let's see. Dinner. I talk about, all right, I'm gonna have to go back and see what I said. So then we have Jacob and Haley, and you know, they're having some issues because, like I said, they consummated the marriage, but then she starts to talk about, you know, after Jacob feels like after they consummated the marriage, she started to pull back, and she starts saying she needs space, something is missing, she doesn't know what, it feels very awkward. These are all things that we saw from the beginning of the season with them too. There was something missing. He feels like her guard is up. She feels like their conversations hit a wall and they're not getting to a deeper level. Something isn't clicking. These are things that she said. The marriage, then she's starting to feel like, I think me being thrusted into a marriage is too much for me. She says, maybe this isn't me to be married. You know, she feels like she was expected to change within 5 days, you know, like, we go from, I don't know you, we haven't connected on a deeper level, but I'm holding your hand, being affectionate. I guess she doesn't feel as genuine because there's the chemistry, that chemistry that we see is missing, and now she's starting to feel it, right? He feels shut out. So then he talks about the next morning as they're packing up to leave, he says, you know, Haley told me she was going out last night with the girls, and I told her to go ahead and enjoy herself. I end up walking down to the lobby, and I see that she is down there with the girls and their husbands. So basically, she intentionally went out with them and intentionally left me out, lied to me because she did not want me there. And I felt for him in that moment. Like I said, I've always had a soft spot for people who are excluded, you know, purposefully. I just feel like, and when I say that, people are like, oh, did that happen to you when you were a kid, and da-da-da. And I've been in so many different programs and different situations where it could have been, so it could have happened, but nothing stands out. You know, I've been to so many sleepaway camps, so many day camps, so many college prep programs, work here, work there. I've been doing this stuff since, you know, my whole life. So I'm sure maybe it did happen, you know, but I can't think of anything specifically. But just the thought of somebody intentionally not wanting you there, to be a part of a group, not know what's going on, not know why you're not wanted, not have any answers about that, and everybody's having fun without, I don't know, I just feel, I don't like when people do that. To me, that just really wasn't nice of her to do that. I'm sure that's not a good feeling. So at this point, he's kind of fed up, and he's kind of like, I don't like the way that she's, you know, she's in this marriage, you know what I mean? And he seems like he's about to be over it. Virginia and Eric, They feel like a daddy and teenager situation to me, and the dynamic makes me feel a bit uncomfortable. I mean, at the end, like I said, she's got like this chihuahua type energy. I think she is a little bit too old to be acting the way she does. And I think that he feels that way, but I think he likes to be in control. So it's kind of like she's always like jumping around, and you see him on the bed, like putting on his glasses, like, let me handle the business. To me, it just feels, that dynamic feels really, really off. Like she's way younger than what she is, and he's way older than what he is. The dynamic, I don't know, I guess it works for them because maybe he wants to be in that role, but that's not for me. Vincent and Brianna, they're okay, but he talked about he didn't like her assertiveness. He took it as disrespect, which is going to be an issue because that's what she is. That's how her family described her from day one. And he doesn't like to be pushed around, which is understandable. So we'll see how that goes. We see Paige and Chris packing up to go home. And at one point, Paige just kind of says to him, she says, listen, I still haven't spoken up. And he says like, well, okay, what do you have to say, type of thing. And she says, well, where's your head at? Where do you see this relationship going? He says he isn't sure. He doesn't know how to proceed at this point. He admits that he has been thinking about, not even just thinking about getting back with his baby mother, but parenting with her. And then Paige says, what do you mean thinking about? Like, have you been talking to her about it? And he's like, yeah, we have had conversations about it. So now her mind is blown, right? And so she feels like she got spit in her face. That's what she said. Because after his comments the other night, which is what we said before, oh, I'm really attracted to you, the whole thing, and I'm going to chase you and blah, 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 and the whole thing. And then all of a sudden you're talking about getting back with your ex while you're supposedly married to me, right? So now she says she is done, right? Like she's completely done. And, they talk. And so she's asking him, like, why didn't you say this to me? Why are you not telling me this? And he's like, well, you never asked me about it. So it's not like I really withheld the information. Come on now. And so, he basically said, the situation is if I left right now, I could get back with my ex today, right? But I'm choosing to stay here. This is what he's saying. Now, this is the manipulative stuff, right? Now he says that he has become spiritually attracted to her. I don't know what that means, but this is what he's saying. Now he is attracted to her physically, is what he's saying. At the same time, his behavior of now talking to your ex and still not knowing what you're going to do, it does not reflect that. But she, he has the gift of gab, and he's charming, and he looks you directly in his eyes with these furrowed eyebrows, and he looks so intense, like he's really trying to figure something out. And so she believes him and she falls for it. And I feel what I got from Paige is I feel like she's experienced a lot of rejection or a lot of disappointment or hurt in the past, because it almost seems like she's used to making these accommodations and accepting all of this bull crap. Even though she puts up a strong front, I'm not going to accept this, I'm not going to stay with this. For some reason, she falls for that so quickly. Even though we can see through it, maybe there's something going on behind the scenes, but she is falling for the crap. You're telling me that you have had conversations probably today of getting back with your ex, but at the same time, now you're spiritually attracted to me, and this whole thing. I just feel like she has been duped over a lot in the past, and she really has taken the brunt of a lot of BS, because it seems like she is too used to falling for, or maybe she's looking for that, that savior person, like, I just want to believe in love, anything you tell me, like whatever it is, because I'm just trying to figure out, why does she keep accepting this stuff from him? So I don't know, we'll see where it goes. I'm a little concerned about her, but let's make sure I didn't leave out anything. But either way, let me know what you guys think about Chris and Eric and everything. Write to me in the comments so we can talk about it, okay, guys? That's about it. I think I talked about everybody there. We'll see how it goes, okay? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for joining Reality with T. Bye-bye.